Let's stay with the economy a little bit, Rodney. Something that you always have a keen, you have your eyes and ears to the ground on the financial stuff, what's going on with finance, and you write about that as well. So let's. I want to bring up a story here from Wall Street Wire News.com. Latest electric vehicle IPO could provide unique entry into a growing market. And this one begins to say, as the adage goes, you don't want to be a gold miner as much as most of them go broke. Instead, you want to be the merchant that sells them picks and shovels. And now we could be seeing an opportunity here in the investment world in terms of electric vehicles. Since it's been hard for investors to get a pure play on charging stations thus far, but that could be about to change. A company called ChargePoint Inc., one of the world's oldest and largest electric vehicle charging networks, is about to reverse merge with Switchback Energy Acquisition Corp. Rodney, what could this mean for investors?
Well, it gives you a chance to own it. And so that's a big deal because, you can buy Tesla. Tesla, it is what it is, right? They've never made a nickel selling cars. Yeah. They make their money by selling credits for emissions to other car makers. But it gives you a chance to buy that infrastructure that everybody's going to need, because people keep talking about, having millions and millions of electric cars, but they don't address the situation where you can drive down the road and see 20 gas stations in 5 miles and no charging stations. And so people are like, oh, well, you're going to charge at home. It's like, really? Are you really? I mean, Dave, is your garage set up for 2 cars to be charged every night?
No.
So exactly. And so most people don't have that luxury. Most people right now who are charging their cars at home, they bought a $100,000 Tesla. And if you can spend $100,000 on a vehicle, you probably have some means. Now, I know that the Model 3's out there and it's selling more and it's 40-something thousand, but still, I mean, you're probably of some means. We know that's who their client base is. And so when you get into the average guy buying the average car, not to mention the average townhome or apartment dweller who's renting and it's not anywhere near their place where they live. So what are they going to do to charge these vehicles? And as you add more cars that need to be charged, the charging stations you have are going to be overrun. I mean, the ones at the airport, the ones at, municipal parking garage. And so we're going to need a phenomenal rollout of infrastructure building to support electric vehicles. And ChargePoint and charging stations are the thing. Now, I've said many times, you need the electricity too. And so, I mean, people are looking around and saying, gee, I want, green electricity. Well, you really want steady electricity. That's the name of this game. And so there's a couple of components in there. ChargePoint doing a reverse merge with Switchback. Like I said, it's going to give people an opportunity to get involved and perhaps getting involved on the ground floor, like buying Tesla, I don't know, whenever they went public back in 2012 or whatever it was. And so could give you an opportunity there that's just as big, if not bigger, because this will serve many different cars instead of just one.
Yeah. Now, okay. So let's think about what this world that we're talking about that you believe certainly is coming, what that might look like. You mentioned charging stations in certain places. Certainly, there's plenty of gas stations with multiple pumps and all that. I think there's like a Thornton's right down the street with I think like 30 pumps. It's like crazy. And just about a mile down the road is a Walgreens with an electric vehicle charging station. It's a single parking space. That's all it is. And right. I think about it, how does this work practically, Rodney? These things have to become more efficient. So in other words, so I go to Walgreens and okay, so let's just say I get that spot. I mean, how much is maybe 10 minutes of charging going to get me? Or does it need to be something where everywhere, or there's like half the parking lot is full of charging stations or something like that? What does this actually look like?
Well, so it's going to come in stages. The first one is the cars on the road right now, you're not going to get much out of 10 minutes. And so you need a supercharging station, and your vehicle has to accept such a charge. And you need a place where you can park it for half an hour.
Right.
And so the original idea was you put it at restaurants, you put it at shopping malls, you put it at retail shops, places where people are going to spend reasonably 20, 30, 40 minutes an hour, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You put it outside a nice restaurant and people can actually charge. Now you're mixing two things. You're mixing a task with a pleasure. And so do you really want to say, oh, let's go to Saltgrass because I can get the charging station for 30 minutes? And by the way, you can only get it if one other person having dinner that hour is not using it.
Right.
And so the problem is, since we don't wait in line for those things, we're not at the ready to roll over time after time after time. And so there's going to be an app for scheduling where you get in line, blah, blah, blah. Somebody's going to figure that one out pretty quickly. I'm not worried about that. But the other thing is, and it's something I believe we talked about last week or a couple of weeks ago, there's a new company who is bringing solid-state lithium batteries to market, and they're also reverse merging, a company called QuantumScape. And so their battery can go further, more density per weight unit than the current lithium ions, and it can accept up to 80% charge in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That's the game changer. When you get under 15 minutes, it's like, okay, now you kind of got something. And so when we see those two things merge, more charging stations and batteries accepting charge at a faster rate, that's where it starts to be interesting, right? Because it's hard to picture yourself at a gas station for 35, 40 minutes. Once it's your turn, think about being third in line. So now you're 2 hours because everybody gets 30 minutes before you get yours. Yeah. And so it's hard to see yourself in line at a gas station for 2 hours, but you can certainly see yourself spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes there every 400 miles to get the extra charge.
Really interesting stuff here as this world is rapidly evolving. So I appreciate you keeping an eye on that and maybe pointing some people to some potential opportunities if they want to get into that space.